Welcome to Procurement Says No, episode 28. Good afternoon, Eddie.
Not in Vegas anymore.
No.
Been weeping into my coffee.
After all the excitement of Vegas, we are now back in Blighty. But we have lined up more guests who we met at ProcureCon West Indirect, including today, we have Joe Piazza from Zip, recorded back in Vegas, and a few others who we met. Lots of lovely people we met in the States who were itching to come onto the show in future episodes.
I was going to start singing zippity-doo-dah, zippity-a.
Indeed.
So even though we're not in Vegas, Vegas is still with us.
Yes, so that's coming later on. Another slightly dodgy recording of us in Vegas. But first, the news.
Ooh.
Well, not much news, but a little bit, and it's very exciting. The Procurement Act 2023 went live a couple of weeks ago, and so far, so good. Not a lot of comment has been made so far online, that I've seen anyway, so that's good. Nothing to report. I imagine lots of public sector procurement types are getting to grips with it all and being watched by their legal teams.
I thought you were going to say legal turds. Is that what you're thinking?
There is that. And related to that, the government published its long-awaited National Procurement Policy Statement, brackets NPPS, close brackets, which sets out 8 actions that contracting authorities should take to return public procurement back into the service of the country and working people. How very Keir Starmer. In fact, apparently, the Procurement Act 2023 was delayed by 4 months to allow time for the new procurement policy statement to be produced.
So, not meaning to be cynical or anything, haven't we heard this before under previous governments? Oh, the strategy will be we will add more value within the UK economy and will help SMEs. What it does is give more business to small to medium-sized enterprises.
In the UK. Unless it's cheaper to buy it in France.
Yeah, exactly, like passports. And of course, what will happen is we'll give more business to fewer big organisations.
Yes.
Is that how it'll work?
Public procurement is a key lever in achieving the government's missions by sourcing goods and services that deliver value for money, including social and economic value across the commercial life cycle that drives sustainable economic growth and benefits local communities, raising living standards in every part of the United Kingdom.
Yawn, 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 yawn. How does it work then? So you've got a small enterprise. They're not a butty shop or a coffee shop. There's some proper business, but they've got 25 people working for them and they turn over a couple of million quid.
Question 1. Do you turn over more than £20 million? Question 2. Have you worked in public sector before?
Exactly.
Oh, no to both of those.
Oh, so, sorry, can't use them. Same when I was exchanging, I've said this story before, went along, spoke to the Treasury, blah, blah, blah. We want to use more companies like you. You're a big outsourcing company, but we don't use you. Yes, I say, give us a chance. BQQ, you've got no experience. Yeah, but we do lots of work in the private sector for banks. Oh, no, sorry, we'll let you through then. And then at the first bid phase, we got disavowed because we had no experience in the sector.
Idiots. Simplifying public procurement and aligning it with the government's missions, including industrial strategy, oh yeah, will put UK firms in the best possible position to compete for and win public contracts. Lovely. So there you go. Sorted.
Stunned silence.
All we've got to do is keep saying the government will give more work to SMEs and the economy will grow, and magically it will.
You heard it here first, folks.
So slightly cynical and slightly political. 2 things that we said we'd never do, Ed.
So if you're a SME, don't hold your breath. Carry on selling to your private sector customers because they'll be a little bit more open than the public sector and nothing will change.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. Give peace a chance. Give procurement a chance.
The garden will be fragrant, smelling of roses.
It will.
Or will it be flagrant?
Anyway, in other news, CIPS news. Well, listen to this. I looked on the CIPS website. The CIPS website, it's all very exciting. Lots of stuff on there. Yippee!
Really?
Yeah, there's news. There's CIPS Futures event in London on the 1st of July at the QE2 conference. Oh. There's a little thing called Trending this week on CIPS, which has got their CIPS Futures podcast. Apparently they do a podcast. Never heard of it. The Procurement Excellence Awards is coming soon, now open for entries, including Best Procurement Podcast. Well, it should be anyway. There's a bit about the Procurement Act, and there's some stuff about upcoming training courses. So they've woken up.
Ooh, they've obviously been listening to you, Rich.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a diatribe for 6-7 months from you on that one, isn't there?
Yeah, we have news. We have news from CIPS. Hurrah!
Super.
Any more news?
Yeah, I'm not wanting to enter the political fray with regard to the President of the United States.
You're too late. We've already done politics. Oh, no. More politics. Oh, no.
So I posted a while ago on LinkedIn that tariffs only led to recession. Tariffs have been tried before, in the US in particular, and it led to recession. And it was thought that tariffs could be used as an alternative by the US administration, like 80, 90 years ago, as an alternative to taxation on the public and corporations. Anyway, recession loomed large. So pay attention to articles in the Sunday Times newspaper business section. And there's a guy called Erwin Stelzer, who is an economist from the US. He talks about the US marketplace. His title to his article is Making America Expensive Again. Published on the 16th of March, he states there's been a $2 trillion drop in share prices since the inauguration of the president. And that is pretty much solely driven by thoughts about the imposition of tariffs and trade wars. Lots of inflation in the US, less money in the consumer's pocket, suggesting that we're running very close to moving the US economy into recession, which will take the rest of the world into recession.
Oh.
Not very positive an outlook.
So everyone's taken all the money out of US shares at the top. They've all dropped, and they're all going to buy them back again at a lower price.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Or, alternatively, put all your money on black.
I still go with red.
Go with red. Or, alternatively, put all your money into Tesla shares. They're doing well.
What I do wonder, though, a question for our listeners is, given that Mr. Musk is involved in streamlining government departments, will he also streamline what they pay for SpaceX?
Oof. He'll be asking himself for a discount.
I think so.
A rebate, no less.
Yes. Yeah, so that's my news, really. So a bit worrying, really. I think, what's it going to do to pensioners, the fall in the stock market and their pensions? The grey pound and all that, or the grey dollar?
I wouldn't know, Ed. What will it do to you pensioners?
I'm not a pensioner, mate. I'm not a pensioner. I just look older than I am. Or it's the other way around. No, it's the other way around, isn't it? Anyway. Yeah, interesting but worrying times, I think. Looks like a lot of people are getting very angsty about the tariffs. I mean, where are people in America going to get their champagne from?
They're not going to get it from champagne. That's a fact.
No, they're going to have to buy some...
California.
California.
Yes.
There's good wines as well in California.
There are good wines in California.
Anyway, we'll see, won't we?
You heard it here first. And that's the excitement of some great news. Good news this week from Procurement Says No. And now it's time for Ask Rich and Ed, which will feature in a future episode of Ask Rich and Ed, our bite-sized chunk of a podcast.
Like dog food.
This is question 1. This is from Jose de Bossa in Cincinnati. I'm looking to recruit a senior procurement manager for my team. I've found a good candidate who, frankly, is better qualified than me and has far more experience. I'm concerned that if I recruit him, he might become a competitor to me and usurp me from my role. I have therefore rejected his application. Was this the right thing to do?
Oh, Jose, what were you thinking?
You should surround yourself with great people, which is what I do on this podcast.
Me too, as well. So how does that work then?
Hurrah!
Leaders surround themselves with great people.
They do. Even Richard Branson does.
Yeah. Managers fear the people around them in some situations. So get great people, ride on their coattails. You'll be a success. People manager is a key responsibility of a leader, isn't it? And deploying people who are brilliant around you is a sign of a fantastic leader.
Which is why Ed is with me.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. The thing is, I think, Rich, is that this is so many people feel like this, feel threatened by other people.
Yeah, it's bizarre, isn't it? Bizarre.
You'll get on, by getting great people around you. And obviously, do you think that leaders of big organisations don't have lots of people who are much stronger than them in their functional discipline, or even better than them, but just further back in their career? But they use those people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and leaving that legacy that the team then can take over from you when you do leave
Yeah.
is a great thing to have as well. And say, oh, look, I helped those the following people. I've helped them up in their career, and I got them their first management job. I got them their first director job, or whatever it is. No, Jose, you're all wrong, mate. Stop it.
I made you what you are.
Yeah. So there you go, Jose. See if you can get back in touch with that guy and offer him the job, you fool.
Next question for you, Rich, from Tony Peterson in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. I work in a highly decentralized business with procurement out of control and being done everywhere by everyone.
Oh.
We're using the same suppliers in different sites and with different pricing. I'm looking at introducing rebates across all suppliers to at least get some cash back from suppliers, which I guess I can claim as savings. What is the best approach here, Rich?
My experience of rebates has always been pretty negative. We had a lot of them when I was in the FM industry, and everybody lost visibility of the real pricing, and the stakeholders thought the prices were too high, so they went off piece to find different suppliers, and we had rebates on other rebates for volumes and different sites. And it's not really a saving, is it? Because you're actually getting the money back that you've already paid, unless, of course, it's a rebate that you've negotiated off an existing price, which is fine. So that's great. I guess positives are it's easy to track. It's cash in the bank. You can see it. It's helpful if you've got agreed list prices with clients, and then can do a better deal. But generally, I find rebates to be quite tricky. And they might be quite good if you're a very, very immature organization. And as I say, it's just a way of getting cash back into the organization. But yeah, generally negative about rebates. I think you've got a more positive view, Ed, maybe, or not?
I think one of the things that people miss out on when they negotiate is that, say you've got a contract and you're buying, let's say, $1 million worth of stuff, and you negotiate that very hard every year. You've got all the terms and conditions agreed, and you get a price. And say it's, I don't know, $1 an item, you buy $1 million worth of them. I think that there's always value in putting some sort of rebate or value kicker into the contract in case you exceed volume.
A volume kicker, yeah.
And a lot of times when you're negotiating, if you introduce that into your dialogue with a supplier, if it's a quite high number and a high percentage above the expected volume, a lot of the time the suppliers will give you that. And then you might be surprised. Something might take off within your business, and therefore that you'll buy lots more of something. And then you can get the benefit of that rebate. Whereas a lot of time it's lost. You say you're going to spend $1 million, it happens to be 2 million. You just pay the same old price. You don't get any gain for it. So I think in that sort of situation, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I think that it disincentivizes stakeholders to like you in procurement. Just the final bit of Tony's question was, what is the best approach here?
If you've got existing pricing, then, as you say, let's see if we can incentivize them to grow the business with you, or grow the volumes, or consolidate volumes with other suppliers, etc. That might be a good approach to do it. So you're reducing your supplier base, fewer suppliers with more volume in. Although there are risks to doing that as well, as we've talked about before. But that might be a way to do it.
From my perspective, I think one is to reinforce with the key suppliers. I know it's not always easy when you've got thousands of suppliers, but the fewer bigger ones where you think that this is happening, I think you have to go after them and reinforce that there's one price for your organisation, subject to local taxes or whatever. There will be some variables in there, but press the suppliers, one or two of the suppliers, to normalise their pricing. Yeah. And then the other one is, I think, is call it out with the stakeholders. Particularly if 3 sites are getting really poor pricing compared to the one site, go to the other 3 sites and say, did you realise that this is what this supplier is doing? And because I think often the stakeholder sees you as procurement as interfering negatively. I think look at it as a positive interference and explain to them rationally why the basis for the supplier ripping them off, I think.
The other thing that the company that used to do a lot of rebates that I worked at, there were concerns from the stakeholders. They thought the rebate was going back to procurement, and procurement was just spending the money on parties.
Excellent.
Was one thing. But the other thing that was slightly hilarious was, because our data and systems were so poor and so fragmented, we often had to go to the supplier and ask them nicely what we'd spent with them the previous year. Hello, Mr. Supplier. What can we just confirm what we spent with you last year, and therefore what rebate you owe us? I mean, you could put a positive spin on that and say it built lots of trust.
Or not.
Next one. This is from Edward Sands, short for Scissor Hands.
Oh, yes.
In London. My business has just merged, brackets, been taken over by a much larger FTSE 250 company. Their procurement function has 3 times as many people in it as mine, and rather than creating a collaborative environment, we are just being asked for data and contract details and existing strategy and supplier information. Should we go along with these requests or should we resist? The team think it's inevitable that it will be us who are made redundant at the end of all this. What should we do? Resistance is futile.
Yes. Are you a leader or you're a manager?
Oh, back to that again.
So you fight it to what end?
Yeah.
You fight, you resist, you put your arms around your data, you play secret squirrels. You know what's inevitable? You get made redundant.
Yeah.
Because you're seen as a difficult person to deal with, and therefore if there were roles in the new organisation, you certainly won't get one. Obviously, if you want to be made redundant, be awkward, but maybe they'll just sack you instead for being awkward. But be open. Ask them what they're doing with the data.
Yeah.
Inquire. Go and see the other party. Say, can I come? Can I come over to your office to understand what you're doing, and can I help? Can I come and base myself out of your offices for a few days, and then I can access the data for you and help you. Work with them.
Yeah. Be super helpful. I totally agree. Acting like us and them is not a good use of resource. And I think also, if this is the case, I think both organisations need to be a bit more open about what the future might look like, whether there is going to be headcount reduction or a move to a single location. I think it's just, again, be upfront, be honest about what's going on, because people would rather have certainty, whether it's good news or bad news. They'd rather have certainty than just a fog of nonsense.
I think the thing is, you have to think a little bit about, it sounds like it's already merged here, but when you're going through that process of acquiring another company, you do a lot of due diligence, and sometimes you use third parties, and you might find that the data collection is all part of understanding what's going on, what the potential synergy opportunity is from the merger, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't mean point blank that everybody in your organization is going to be fired. It might be just data collection. The people who are more likely to lose their jobs are at the top of the tree. If you're a purchasing manager or a purchaser, junior buyer or whatever, you're much more likely to survive that process than the head of procurement, because there can only be one head of procurement probably. So one of the leaders will have to go. They're more likely to be negatively impacted than those further down the tree.
Which reminds me of a manager that I once knew who worked in the risk department, and his name was Hugh Diligence.
Boom, boom.
And the next question is from Tiger Pantang in Thailand. I'm reading a lot of procurement online strategy content saying a centralised procurement structure is best. We have separate procurement offices across our Southeast Asian locations. Do we have to centralise to be best practice?
In a word, no. There you go, answered.
Not sure that centralising across Southeast Asia will work. There might be certain categories or areas where a regional approach might work, regional suppliers or process system strategy stuff or tracking, project tracking or something. But I think it's always good to maintain some feet on the ground in each territory.
I think also that there does seem to be a move online at the moment, and I think we saw this a little bit, I heard this a little bit at ProcureCon, that centralisation was the way to go for procurement. Well, it's just not the case, is it? It depends. It's situational and relative to the strategy of the organisation that you work with.
Yeah.
So what's the strategy of the business? Is that heavily decentralised or centralised? That creates a sort of pro forma organisation for the business. And not all businesses are centralised. They like to be close to their local markets in some cases. They're heavily decentralised and owned from the centre and just watched and allowed to plough their own furrows, in terms of making revenue, improving revenue, growing profit and all that stuff. And the other one is, I think, to your point there, Rich, is about norms in country. Do people in one part of Asia want to be told by another group of people from another part of Asia how to run their affairs? You have to consider all of those sort of factors when considering whether to centralise or decentralise.
We have 2 business units, one in North Korea and one in South Korea.
Centralise them.
Should we centralise?
On the DMZ. Or DMZ. There's a little hut,
yes.
Wouldn't they? They could meet there at that little hut on the line.
Take cover. We're going to the DMZ.
No, I think organisation comes from the business strategy.
Yeah, you're right. The business strategy and the country culture as well play a part in both of those things.
There's no one template for business, that's for sure.
Right, cool.
Right, so this is from Nguyen Chung in Hong Kong. He says, where does procurement responsibility start and end? We keep getting blamed for issues and problems that are not our core job. i.e. an engineer picks a supplier that cannot make it to the tolerances needed, or when a purchase requisition is raised last minute, or even after we need goods and services. And we are also given work to define the specification and other requirements that I think the stakeholders should be defining. What do you reckon, Rich?
Yes, indeed. Well, it's all those things. It's back to the manager and leader stuff again. But this is at a sort of more junior level, isn't it? It's all of those things. It's your job to support the business to get what it needs to help them solve their problems, make yourself a name for being positive and getting stuff done. Then the stakeholder will be beating down your door for support, and you'll be too busy to get anything done. No, you should be helping and supporting wherever you can. That's the job of the procurement people. Go and help and support.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the only thing is if the business is acting suboptimally, they're telling a supplier they got the business, ordering the stuff verbally when they shouldn't, and then coming to you when the stuff's just been delivered and saying, "Oh, I need to raise a requisition, and can't you help me do that? Can you do that for me? And I need a purchase order, and I need it PDQ, etc." I think then you need to push back, and I think you just need to be adult in your conversation with your stakeholders. But as Rich said, you're there to help. We're part of a function that helps to oil the wheels of the business. We're a service function.
Yeah, and there's two ways you can do it as well on that. You can make it very difficult for stakeholders, in which case they need to come for you to help, or you can make it really easy for them, in which case they'll come to you for help.
Yeah, I think you have to push back though.
Yeah, you do. If people are continually not following the process. But then again, have a look at the process. Maybe there's something wrong with the process, or there's something wrong with the system, and you're not perceiving it from the stakeholders' views. You see what the stakeholders says, and it might be someone who doesn't often buy things. So every time they buy something, it's a voyage of discovery for them, and it's your clunky process, which is awful. Have a look at it from their point of view and see what they're trying to do. See if you can improve the process.
And shouldn't a procurement function be slightly ahead of the curve in terms of engaging its internal customers so it has an idea of what's coming, so that it's creating framework agreements or whatever with the right suppliers? Isn't that part of the enabling activity, I think?
We're too busy putting in complicated contracts that nobody understands, full of rebates.
Excellent. With the wrong suppliers on the centralised structure when we're actually decentralised.
Yes. And that's it for questions this week.
Yeah, I like them. Thank you, team. It took time, but we tracked him to the other side of the world. We found him. We dragged him into our podcast studio.
We have Joe Piazza from Zip. Zip, we will find you, and we will interview you. So, welcome back to ProcureCon West Indirects. Here we are with a special guest star today, because we have with us from our favourite vendor, tech vendor, Zip. We have Joe Piazza, and he's here to tell us all about Zip. Now, Joe, you don't know this, but we've been following Zip and we've mentioned you a number of times on the podcast.
Great.
Way back from episode 1, when you were giving away free earbuds. And we wrote in and we said, can we have some free earbuds, please? And we never got a reply.
We were begging for them.
We were?
Yeah.
We were very, very, very disappointed. So we need you to sort that out. First thing, that's why we had to track you down.
That's exactly. I got to go run it to my room. I've got it ready to go.
Yeah.
I'm never coming back after.
Yeah. So we've been following you. We've mentioned you because you're like a PR machine compared to there's I don't know. We counted them. There's 3,000 other tech vendors out there.
Yeah.
But you're making all of the noise. We're from the UK, but we're hearing zip, 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 zip. So whoever's your PR machine is, they're doing a fantastic job.
I'd have to agree with you there.
Yeah, is it you?
I wish it was.
So tell us a little bit more about your background and what are you doing in Zip and what Zip's up to at the moment.
Yeah, so I've been in the source to pay space for going on 11 years now. My career spans across Coupa, ServiceNow, and Zip. So I've seen it from... I think for a long time, the vision in source to pay was Coupa versus Ariba. I think Ariba was market to first. Coupa came out in 2006, and it was a heavyweight bout for years. And then all of a sudden, I got a knock on the door about Zip, which was this company that was focused on intake and orchestration. And I had never heard of the term intake and orchestration before. And I was like, well, what do you mean by intake? We do intake within P2P today. And I met with the founding team at Zip and had a conversation with them. It was actually pretty funny. At the time I was working at Coupa, and they had asked me, hey, we want to see your presentation skills. Can you demo us Coupa? I was like, no, I'm not going to demo you Coupa. I was like, I don't even know what your platform looks like. Are you going to demo me Zip? And they're like, no, we're not going to demo you Zip. So I was like, where do we go from here?
There's a standoff.
And so they had a great founding team that did a really nice job painting the picture of what the challenge in the space was that they were going to markets to solve. And I had seen it among my customers too. It felt innovative, it felt new, and I took the jump, and it's been great. So I was at Zip originally. I actually boomeranged back, and so now my job at Zip is I'm an account manager who manages renewals and upsells for all of our current enterprise customers.
What is it that you think is special and different about Zip, from a client perspective? So how do you sell it into a client?
Yeah, what I think Zip does better than anyone in the market, it solves the challenge of accounting for the lowest common denominator in the space, which is a requester that requests something once a year. Yeah. How do you solve for somebody that's never logged into a procurement tool before, that may need to hire a consultant, may need to ask for a piece of software, may need to hire contingent labor? How do you put something in front of them that is so easy to use, they can leverage it with no training? If you can solve that problem, you get adoption on the front end. If you get adoption, you get more spend under management, more spend on purchase order. If you have more spend on purchase order, when invoices come in, you have something to match it to. So what Zip does really well is make it extremely easy for anyone in the business to raise their hand, ask for what they need, and loop in the right people at the right time.
So we've talked about this, haven't we? This B2B being crap at this sort of stuff. Whereas B2C has been, Amazon has been doing this for years and making the user experience really easy. And we always wonder, why is B2B not able to do it?
Well, in fact, if you look at Spend Matters and Gartner a few years ago, user experience or UX didn't figure.
Yeah.
So they'd say, what does the system do? Yeah. And, how efficient is it or whatever and all that sort of stuff. But they wouldn't talk about the user experience. And yet, as you say, if you want to buy something from yourself personally, you go on Amazon or wherever, or eBay or whatever, it's just that easy, isn't it? You barely think about it.
Think about what's changed in the industry though, right? If you look at Coupa and Ariba, a lot of what was being purchased through those systems were goods. Punch outs to Staples, CDW, SHI, Amazon, internally hosted catalogs, whether it was MRO spend, gloves, masks, whatever it is. What's changed in the last 10 to 15 years? The boom of software. Buying pieces of software is not like buying something from a catalog. They're an intricate purchase that requires buy-in from legal, IT, finance, security, everybody across the board. And each of those teams has their own SaaS platform that they use. Legal uses a contract management tool. IT uses a ServiceNow or a Jira, right? You look at risk, they have third-party risk management tools across the board. So what's being purchased today across tech, financial services, manufacturing, distribution, healthcare is not the same spend profile of what was being purchased for the last 20 or 30 years. And I think it's that change of more software and services being bought today than ever before. And I think you ran into a wall where when you look at legacy systems out there, they were not designed to capture that type of spend. Zip was. So I think from our infancy, we've looked at the modern UX to make it easy. Now, I'll put it this way too. If you think about it, everybody has an iPhone in their pocket now. People expect a better user experience today than they did before. Younger workforce coming into the space, they don't want to log into a system that was created 25 years ago. They need something quick, easy, and to do their job. I think generally people want to do the right thing. But for the sake of speed of business, people will go around the system. You guys know this in procurement. If you don't give someone something that's so darn easy to use, that's when you get rogue spend.
One of the things I've said, people don't deliberately choose to avoid procurement. And we make a joke about it, procurement says no, but people don't know what to do, so they therefore go out and buy it themselves. It's not an active choice to avoid the procurement team, because most people accept that needs to be in the business, but they just don't know who the procurement team are, or they don't know where to get the stuff, or who the vendors are, etc. Right. And I think that still prevails.
I agree.
What I was also interested in is, has there been a maturity in indirect procurement, including IT, whereas in the past it all came out of direct, that's where strong procurement was, and then it sort of slowly gone into indirects and businesses start to think about it. And then there's a sort of marriage of the technology and software environment for procurement meeting up with this desire to do better with indirects.
Yeah, and I think if you look at it, certain industries only have indirect spend. Look at tech and financial services. All they buy is software, services, contingent labor, marketing, right? They've got some virtual card with Google Ad and that gets pinged out. So, and then you go into industries that have direct spend, automotive, manufacturing. if the indirect spend bucket is big enough to warrant a solution for itself, there's value there. There's value across the board. And so, I think you see a lot of companies now with indirect procurement teams that are focused on the opportunity at hand.
And the other thought I had about technology is whether, because, in the old days we had the sort of big enterprise systems providers like Oracle and SAP, and then you've had upstarts like Cooper.
Yeah.
And has that brokered the market for the next layer? So the orchestration vendors, like Zip, leading the way. Is it because there's been some sort of disruption in the market? It's been seen to work, and it's disrupted the big players like SAP, etc. And then that sort of opens up the market to the next generation.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is there like a natural evolution?
I think if you look at it, SAP and Oracle have their Oracle e-procurement was around for a long time. Right? We're all familiar with it. SAP, there's a lot of direct spend going through SAP as well, MRP systems across the board. Ariba was created to try and solve this problem first, right? Yeah. Coupa looked at Ariba and said maybe there's a better way. And there was a lot of fighting over should we charge supplier fees, should we not? There was that whole argument too. And I think over time, there was a real lack of innovation in the space. Like I said, it was a heavyweight fight between Coupa and Ariba. And there's always been other vendors out there, the Baswares, the Jaggers, the Zycus, the iValuas, right? Like there are players out there that are great at what they do. There's also the mix of the back and forth between best of breed and suite, right? You've seen that too, where it's like, do we buy one solution for this? Do we do this? You look at Ariba, they grew heavy by acquisition, right? Fieldglass, Concur, or SAP, or Fieldglass, Concur, Ariba. You look at Coupa. Coupa for a long time was, we're going to build it natively. Then they went down the acquisition route of, we're going to buy a contracts tool and a risk tool, and a supply chain, all across the board. The one thing that's exciting about Zip is everything we've brought to market so far is natively built within the platform, and it's all on a modern no-code code base where it's extremely easy. So the ability for us to innovate quicker than other tools on the market is unparalleled. And I think, props to the founders at Zip too. They saw a problem. Going back to people don't know when to engage procurement. You hear the story of Rajul and Lou. They're working their day and they're like, we're working on a renewal. Where do I go? What am I supposed to do here? There has to be a better way. I think their journey into the space and doing it right. Look at all the pop-up vendors now that are trying to get into intake and orchestration. So kudos to them for going to market and doing it right.
Yeah. You just see all these, because we've been around the procurement space for so long, it's like the coalition, if you like, of all these different things coming together. And you talk to a big company and you say, well, why don't you just have one common system, a sort of common bus, and then just link in all these other systems? And they go, oh, no.
Now we want one giant ERP.
We want a giant system.
One ring.
You say, no, but you don't have to now because things can connect up. But it's taken a decade at least for people's mindset to change. And now I think that going back to Richard's point about thousands of procurement tech vendors, it's because the space for them, they can connect.
If you look at legacy ERPs or P2P vendors, and you have a suite of products that try to solve for everything, why would you invest in orchestration? You're eating your own pie. Like, why would you, right? And so I think it takes someone new to come along and go, maybe there's a better way to do it. And I think as technology has grown and you have contract management tools and risk tools and IT tools that are so in-depth in what they do, those teams want to use what's best for them. They don't want to be forced into leveraging something else. And the other thing I'd say about the suites of the ERPs and the vendors, just because it's part of the same company does not mean that the integrations work properly. How many times have you seen it's like, well, it's all in one, it must all talk to each other. There's no chance, right? So look, I think Ariba has done great things. I think Coupa has done great things, and they're still out there today. I think they'll be there for the long run. I think you look at what is
really there? Really?
We'll see. What are the challenges that people are faced with today? So I've talked to so many customers where they will articulate the challenge at hand as, I wish we had a better front door to drive requesters through, to guide them through the process. What's nice about Zip is what we're able to provide for and I'm on calls every day with our enterprise customers. And, the logo list of Zip is ridiculous with how fast we've grown in such a short amount of time. I talk to customers all day, and things I hear that are positive about what they're experiencing are, we're driving more spend under management. We're driving savings. We're giving our internal customers a better experience. We're cutting down on the where's my stuff pings by giving them a pizza tracker to track it all. Right? And we're getting deep into the procure to pay and payment space as well. So seeing us evolve from just an intake and orchestration tool to now talking to customers that want to do this all in one platform, the journey's been awesome to see so far.
So are you still using the phrase intake to pay? Because you said P2P. I mean, traditionally it's P2P, but we've actually developed it further. We call it I need to pay.
so do I. I'll be right back. And acronyms are such a funny thing. You've got source to contract, procure to pay. We used to call it intake to procure. You'll hear procure to order, AP automation. You'll hear payments. You'll hear it's insane. And I think even in Zip, as our market has matured and we've reevaluated where our customers are at and the direction we're going, right? You have intake and orchestration. You can do intake through pay. And I think the difference of calling it procure to pay versus intake to pay is you're addressing the fact that intake is different than procurement, right? I think that's the space that Zip has created and done so well in.
So is it actually guided buying?
Guided buying, I feel like, is a loaded term. And I think there's other vendors out there, so I don't want to get in trouble as well.
I'm putting you there.
I know you are. I would say the way you set up a procurement system is so vital to its success. You could have the best tool in the world. If your approval chain is a million steps long, someone's going to look at it and go, well, this kind of stinks, right? Well, it's like, well, maybe we should clean that up a little bit. And so we do guide users the best we can through the process and then automatically loop in the right people at the right time so they don't have to. Yeah.
So what's your target market? Because I guess when you started, we were following some of the things that Zip was talking about, and you seem to be going mid-market, smaller sort of customer base. But is the plan big logos, and are you just kind of world domination? Is that your next step?
I think so. I think that's the goal. And I think when you look at where Zip started, the challenge was mostly around solving software and services. Who, like we talked about, who has all the spend of software and services? Tech does. Fast-growing tech companies that care about speed and time to market, and they don't want to take 45 days to onboard a vendor, right? Yeah. Great, that's what Zip addressed, right? Who else has that? Financial services. So a lot of Zip's early customers you'll see fall into that tech and financial services space. We have customers now across the board, whether it's retail, healthcare, manufacturing, anybody that has a challenge of we need a better front door. That's the space we play in. And I think we needed to start somewhere, but you see us not only branching out industry-wise, we're also talking to some of the largest companies in the world too. And so I think our journey will continue to be moving up market. And, the bigger the company, the bigger the opportunity is to do this. And so we're doing it carefully. We're doing it the right way, but we have incredibly large companies that have signed up for Zip. And I can say that, in our pipeline today, we're talking to some of the largest companies in the world. It's exciting to see.
And your valuation is bonkers now.
Sure is. Yeah, there's a market for it. That's for sure, no doubt.
And what's your revenue targets, and what are you looking at in terms of your growth? I always ask this question, and nobody ever answer it.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna follow suit. All the money, I'd say. I don't know. So
all the money, yes.
Appreciate the question, but no thanks. We're doing well, and we look forward to continuing.
Brilliant. Great stuff. Cool. So you're in Vegas.
Yeah.
You've got $1,000.
Yeah.
Are you going to put it on red, or are you going to put it on black?
I walked into the casino, and I put not that much. I put a substantial amount on black. And then I let it ride, and I got a lot of cash in my pocket.
Whoa! The man put it on black, and he won.
Of course, you got to go. And so my friends and I, before COVID, we used to take a March Madness trip up to Reno every year. Yeah. I live in San Jose, so we used to drive up to Tahoe and go to Reno. And I actually have a spreadsheet at home of how many times I've put money on black. And I think I'm at like a 55% win percentage over the last 10 years. So if you take account, if there was a vig on it, I'd be even, but I think I've come up a little bit. So black's done well for me. I'm going to continue to do so.
Everybody we've asked that question has said put it on black.
Except me.
I think it's almost sacrilegious to start with red. I don't know, that's what I've heard. So.
We heard a really good answer because somebody said it's black because you're in the black.
That's great.
How's the conference been so far?
It's awesome. Yeah, I think it's. I got in Sunday night, so I got a little bit of time to relax, and I've been to ProcureCon and SIG events and everything across the board. They do it right here at ProcureCon in Direct West. I'd say like the service has been great, the booth setup has been great, the speakers have been great. There's such a good vibe here among the professionals, like that I hear on stage, of the collaboration across the different teams, and a lot of people sharing best practices. Even us, like on the vendor level, talking to the other vendors and figuring out what else is out there in the space has been awesome. And so the vibes here are great.
Great. Brilliant. Well, thanks very much, Joe. That's been great. Cheers.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Really good.
Yeah, it's good.
Slick.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah.
That was exciting.
Super.
And remember, you can now listen to us on the Alchemy Network, on Facebook, Twitter, formerly known as X, or the other way around, LinkedIn, and some other places as well. And our website is under construction.
It is.
And if you want to buy a T-shirt, go to eBay, go and buy one, or reach out, as they say, to either me or Ed, and we'll sell you one of our lovely, lovely items.
All over the world they are. All over the world.
Super.
Even in Fort Worth, in Texas.
People are wearing them, and you're going to want to have one too.
It'll be the new model army for procurement.
Lovely. So that's it for Vegas.
No, I don't think I'd go there again.
But that's what you said last time.
I know. Well, I never intended to go there at all.
It was cheap, though.
Listen to this. The helicopter flight, that cost £6.34 between the two of us. With the credit. And I don't know how that works, because I thought
It was very good value.
it cost £835.18. And they gave me a credit of £828.84, which I guess is Amex screwing me a bit. And then the hotel,
Which was a bit grim.
came to, for 4 nights in total, between the two of us, £34.
Really? That's mental.
And then,
Doesn't sound right.
yeah, and then the hotel, the first one, that was £1.92 for that room and breakfast. So the whole cost of the hotels was £5.95.
What? That doesn't sound right. But hey, we'll take it.
I can't believe how cheap it was. I just thought,
That's brilliant. Makes up for the thousands we lost on the roulette wheel.